I was hoping to crack that can before we got inside the show.
Oh shit!
No, it's all good.
Yeah, I was like, well, what are we doing? But welcome to the premiere episode of the Exiled Outcasts. Here, live from the island of relevancy. Of course, I am your host, the House of Chayton, with my guest at this time. Introduce yourself.
I'm Dark Diggler. I'm Dan.
Oh yes.
What
If anybody has seen that, knows that reference for the name,
You're killing me because you're like, I get it. It's a new program. It's this. You're trying something new, but you always come in with this serious ass fucking Hangman Charlie fucking intro, and it's not. That's not you. That's the thing. That's the point. That's why we got exiled in the first place.
I know, right? I just like it's just that old habits die hard. I would assume.
You're so for the fucking theatrics, right? And I was watching your stream last night. Can you hear me though? Am I coming in clear?
Yes.
Do I need more bass in my headphones? Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
So last night I was watching your stream, right? And I messaged you. I was like, "Oh, I still want to tell them the story about this fucking stalker chick." And you're like, "No, this is a solo stream." And I got it. I thought about it. I was like, "Fuck it, let's do this." And you want to tell everybody how this kind of came to fruition?
Yeah, basically, of course, for some of you who followed me for a long time, I used to host a show called the Hangman Outcast, over 50 episodes strong, all that good stuff. Don't need to talk about how the show ended, yada yada yada. But for the longest time, and me and Dirk have talked about this privately.
You can call me by my name. I'm dead. I'm just fucking.
Oh, I know. I just why it's like whichever name works. But Dan and I have talked in the past, and he even knows that he was one of my prime choices to be the original co-host. So it's been like we've been wanting to work together for the longest time on something.
Yeah.
And finally we just said, fuck it, let's do something together.
Well, and not to fucking, to be fair, okay, so this just came up, right? This kind of just.
Yeah.
So you were doing one of your recent streams, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus or anything. Fuck that. This is, again, we're not bringing up the past. But I was watching it with a mutual friend of ours, and you were talking about fucking leaving the platform. I was like, that is some fucking horse shit. All right, fuck it. I'll fucking, and I on the fly, I was like, so Chayton's gonna go into exile. Oh, fuck it, we'll do the exile Outcast because my exile is pretty much self-imposed. I've fucked off because I felt like fucking off, and you're gonna fuck off to fucking for some sort of medium. Granted, that's not how it went down. Cool, great, fucking you and your loopholes and bullshit. But I'd already created the logo, and in like a matter of like 45 minutes, I created the fucking intro, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of jazzy. I kind of like this, and you liked it, so here we are.
Yeah, and it was basically like a certain song I was using, of course, for a stream that kind of added to the intro and all that. So I was like, fuck, and then of course seeing it, I was like, fuck yeah. And then both getting excited for it already and all that good stuff. I was like, I'm down, it's like all that good stuff. So it's just the whole idea. And then yeah, Tales from the Deuce, of course, is I usually try to keep that sold. I think the only time I ever did a joint stream was the only other time I went live back in the day. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep that solo. And then I was like, okay, yeah, we could talk. And plus, like I said, I was like, fuck it, let's just do it, do the show then and talk about the whole thing you were hinting at to me privately about.
Yeah, and no nog on the Outcast show, the Hangman Outcast. It was a wonderful variety show. Had some good shit. I enjoyed it. I was on there. I got to be a guest a couple times. But since you wanted to do something different, right? And this is something you've never done. And this right here, for once, I don't have to fucking be responsible for being in charge of shit. So I'm all about that life. I'm like I said, like you alluded to before, we've always wanted to work together. Like we've always gotten along, whether maybe because we're Texas natives or we're fucking complete opposites for most things. We just fucking gel as friends. and I don't mind saying that. Like, I consider you a friend.
Yeah.
We have like literally fought and argued and fucking, gone to opposite ends of the spectrum and said fuck you and but come back and talked. And like I said, you're one of the few people that I would say I trust you as far as like being able to confide in you, and that's a big deal, especially when you're doing something like this, when you're trying to come together to make something new.
Exactly. It's just the idea of, like I've said, some of my close friends, we've had either arguments, some have actually gotten to blows, and we laugh about it later on. We're like, oh yeah, remember when I punched you? Like, oh yeah.
Well, the perfect example for the audience that's probably going to be watching this is when I first met you, right? And we talked about this last night on the phone, but
yeah,
Lennon, who's like everybody loves Lennon now. He's a sweetheart, but when we first met, there was a beef between you and Lennon, and
exactly.
I told Lennon straight up, like, bro, I don't know you, but I'm trying to give you like I'm putting my name to fucking give you a pass. Charlie, give him one more chance, this and that, and whatever may happen. But we're up to a point now where everybody just thinks the world of Lennon, and Lennon's a good people. If you see this, Lennon, what's up?
Yeah, shout out to Lennon's Kitchen.
Fucking all this time has passed, and a lot of people have changed, and I think some for the positive, definitely.
Yeah,
some for the negative, but fuck it. Here we are doing this, and to change tone, because you can't keep talking about bullshit this entire time. You were talking about your fucking Facebook dating shit, and there was a story I wanted to tell you about a particular dating incident in my life, and I figured you'd get a kick out of it. So I was in my mid-20s, and I was living in a fucking townhouse at the time, and me and an ex of about, like, we had dated for like a week, but we had lived together for like 6 years, and dating probably was not the best idea. Like, she wanted to date for the entire time, but it was just she's a very miserable person. I'm not talking bad about her, just her personality. She likes to sulk.
Yeah.
But we split, and so I'm in the townhouse by myself, and I start dating, and I meet a girl on Plenty of Fish, of all things, right? And which is the worst fucking dating app in the world. Just letting you know, don't download that shit. And so we end up going out, and I meet her at Chili's. I got the chicken fried steak, which is my go-to meal for fucking damn everything. And we're eating, and I'm having a good time. The conversation's good. We're about 45 minutes into the date. I pulled the chair out. She didn't fucking get all fucking. Well, that's another story. She's all cool with that. She's like, I'm having a good time. And she looks me square in the face. She looks me right in the face and says, "Are you down to clown?" And I looked at her, and a fucking piece of chicken fried steak in my mouth. I'm pretty full. Like, I'm like, I'd make a swallow and say, I don't think I've ever been down to do anything that has to do with a clown. I don't know if I will or ever want to do anything as far as down with the clown. And I didn't understand. It didn't click for me. I didn't.
I was going to ask you if you got the reference and whatnot.
So no, I mean, I know what juggalos are. I know that, but I didn't. I'm not immersed in the fucking culture. I after that I did. I learned a lot about it. I thought which I'll get into that in a second. But so she goes, "Don't be," her words, "don't be a pussy. Be about that clown life. I want to suck you off in my full clown makeup." And at that point, I'm pretty much like, "Check, please." So I pay for dinner, and I walk her to her car. I was like, "It was nice meeting you. What have you?" And she goes, "You're just one of those people who's scared. You just don't know yet." She proceeds to grab me by the package, leans in, and like licks the side of my face.
Oh shit!
I'm like, oh man, this is getting awkward. Like, I mean, look, I'm all for forwardness, and don't get me wrong. Those of you who know my significant other, like, look, like, I like a strong woman. That's great, cool. This is a little too strong. Too strong. So I live down the street. So I leave. This is the time I owned a fucking. I drove a Ford fucking Ranger. So I drive my little Ford Ranger back home, and I'm like, fuck my life, fuck my life, fuck my life. I get home, I park, and then I go upstairs, and I get a text message. Why are you running from me?
How long has it been since you interacted?
That same night.
Oh shit!
I just got home, not realizing she followed me home.
What the fuck?
And so she goes, you can never hide from me. And I look out my window, and there she is, looking at me.
Was she wearing the makeup?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I don't know when the fuck she had time to do this, because it had to be less than 45 minutes from the date. But she's already in fucking full-on makeup, got a fucking black nose and little fucking lines over her eyes, full-on white face paint, full-on looking like Shaggy 2 Dope, and fucking just, I'm like, oh my fuck.
I was literally imagining like you peeking out your window, and then like there's a quick pan to her like close up, and she's just wearing the makeup. So I was like, was she wearing it? Because I'm like,
so I just don't answer the phone, and she like continues like she ends up leaving, but she keeps texting and this and calls, leaving messages of her, if I can remember correctly, doing stuff and just leaving messages, being fucking weird. And so anyway, she finally stopped. I ended up fucking her, but I'm just kidding. No, but it finally stopped. But it got me curious, right? So I looked into Juggalo culture, and not everybody's like her. A lot of people are, but like there's this thing they do up north called the Gathering, and they all and it's a very, some aspects of it, they're a very close knit community, and they love each other, and it's like they're like fucking hippies from the '60s. Some of them are a little dark, some are a little fucked up, but no, like if you look into, and we're talking about the Insane Clown Posse for anybody who hasn't picked up, but like they give so much to charity, and they fucking hold wrestling events and they do all kinds of shit, but like there are just some sects of that culture that are a little fucked.
Yeah, like that's like that was like something I probably only interacted with one person in that like group and all that, and it was ironic on a bus, and it was just some, and I guess due to when I had long hair, they were asking, "Hey, are you a juggalo?" and all that. And I'm like, no, I'm kind of like, what do I say? I'm like, I listen to ICP, but I'm not like, I don't consider myself a diehard or like a hardcore fan or anything like that. I'm like curious. It was what if I said yes, and then what would have led that conversation? Would have made it been good because it was a dude, so it wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm down for all that. I was like, yeah. I think that's like the only time I've ever met anybody who was considered themselves a juggalo or juggalette at that moment.
Well, I mean, like some of the juggalos I've met when I was like growing up, they were pretty cool. Like they liked to freestyle rap and this and that. And I'm a guy who grew up on NWA and like Tupac and Biggie, and then the Third Coast movement with like Paul Wall and Bun B and shit like that. And they have their own style. It's very, they did some shit with 3-6 Mafia before, but they're all about chainsaws and cutting people's heads off and just really out of left field kind of rap, which is not my shtick. But hey, to each their own. And they're, like I said, a lot of them are pretty cool and would give the shit off their back to you. And then again, some of them would probably rape you. I mean, it's just like, it depends on what section of the Juggalo community you roll into. I mean, there are gangs based off the fucking Juggalos that are fucking criminals that do fucked up shit. It is a very interesting anomaly.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about like the different variations of it. So like it's like and then of course like the government considered to have like a cult and all that good stuff, which I guess to some extent they are in certain parts of it. So it's just like but it's like, but I'm disappointed you in one thing, that you did at least tap it once.
I'm sorry, but I don't like my dick looking like it's covered by Sherwin-Williams. I didn't really need the fucking ice cream paint job for my penis. I think I'm good.
Well, like it kind of like alludes to like what story I'll talk more in detail on a future episode of Tales from the Deuce. But like this one chick that I was talking to for the longest time, we started talking years prior about our love of Rob Zombie, and we kind of hinted about Dave for a while, but nothing ever materialized. And then so like it was like during the Facebook dating scene where she was kind of I guess she finally had the balls to ask me to come over.
Yeah.
And I was at work, and I was like in my head, because then she said she had friends over, so I was like, okay, nothing's going to lead to anything at that moment, which I was like, okay. Reason why I was hopeful, because I was like, I'm in jigsaw makeup. I literally just I had like a 2-day plan for Halloween. It was like Devil's Night, for any of you who've seen The Crow, know the reference. I was gonna do like just standard jigsaw makeup, and then next day I was gonna do The Crow, just do full on Crow getup. And I just saw Jigsaw. I was trying to do something different because I usually do the Joker every year, and I just want to do something different. I was like, I could do like Billy the Puppet, that type of shit.
Yeah.
To make it for that. A friend of mine actually.
Speaking of which, like I just got through watching. I think I told you this. I rewatched the endings to all the Saw movies to get another, and it's because you and I both like found flicks and CZ's World.
Yeah.
So, I was watching their the stuff they did on Saw and Kramer. What's his name?
John Kramer.
John Kramer. I mean, it's a very fascinating series. Billy the Puppet, for those of you who don't know, is the puppet he uses on the fucking tricycle in Saw, who actually comes out and says, "I want to play a game." And it wasn't originally, like I said, it wasn't originally a fucking demonic looking puppet. It was actually a doll meant for his son. What was he was going to name his son? It was a Hebrew name. Anyway, I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to interrupt. But yeah, like that's a lot of. We'll talk about your love of movies later. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, so we were. So like I was doing that episode. I was like, okay, and I was like, it was kind of like a Halloween party anyway. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go in the get up again. I wasn't thinking anything of it, and so I go over there, and and every like it was her, like, to her girlfriends and her brother. And so like everything was like, fine for at least about maybe 2 hours. And then of course we were getting drunk, and anybody who knows me while I'm drunk, I lose my ambition regarding all that, which is good and bad. Damn,
that is like, a lie. You're just a whore regardless.
Yeah, but there are times where I'm kind of, especially if it's someone I had a crush on for a while. And so,
wait, so alcohol doesn't make you the fat chick slayer?
No, alcohol. Like if I get nervous, alcohol helps me get into that mode.
So you're the fat chick slayer times 10.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Because she was a big old woman with what do you call it? She was half black, half Mexican.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So she so we after like conversate with her friends and all that good stuff, I just decided to plant one on her. Mind you, wearing the jigsaw makeup the entire time. And what they led to, her friends finally left early in the morning, and I guess because her brother passed out on the floor in the bedroom, we literally basically started off doing stuff in the fucking restroom, mind you, which was really, if he woke up and walked over, there was no door between the restroom and the bedroom. At least the sink area. The bathroom, yes, but not the sink and all that. Then we led into going into the closet. Not very nice closet though. I will say very spacious. But I said that was the first, I believe the first and only time I ever did a check while wearing makeup. And then of course sleeping with the maid. I was like, pardon me. When I finally woke up the following day, I felt bad because I was like, oh god, probably you're definitely going to need to wash these pillowcases because it's covered in my makeup. Like her, she could just wash off the makeup that was on her, so that was fine. But I was like, fuck.
You reminded me of some stuff that I can't even get mad at you more. We used to talk about, you and I talked about a story with you sleeping with a girl with a baby in the room.
In a what?
There was a baby in the room that you slept with a girl, and or there was a baby stroller or something. I don't remember what you said.
Well, I remember the pregnant chick, which I'll try to. Oh yeah. That one chick. Okay, I remember who you're referring to.
Okay, so I have to apologize because I gave you a bunch of shit, and recently I thought about it. There was a time. Again, this is far before meeting trips. This is far before my ex-wife. This is like I'm young. I'm working in strip clubs. I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
And am I coming in clear? Am I good? Or am I doing?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so there was a girl, and I was working this club, and her name was, I'll never forget it, Desire. And Desire decides that I'm going to be her sandwich for the night. She's a big girl, like big Caucasian gal, like thick everywhere. And so she goes, I want to practice my new dance on you. And I'm like, sure, why not? Like, I got an hour before I get off. Little did I know that I would be getting off in the fucking back area. And I did. And then she goes, you need to come over. And I'm like, all right, you got me all hot and bothered. Let's go do it. So I end up going over to her little shack apartment. Like, I meet her there after I finish up. And she's already got a bottle of Boone's Farm, which is cheap-ass alcohol for anybody who doesn't know. And her gay roommate's looking at me like, hi. And I'm like, what's up? And she goes, come back here. It's a one-bedroom apartment. And I go in the back. And I'm not proud of this, all right? I just want to make it clear. I'm not cheating and saying that I'm proud of these moments, all right? This is something that happened and live with for the rest of my life. These are memories that I can't wash away. And so we go in the back, and I see a crib, but I think nothing of it because I'm like, I'm a young 20-year-old man. Yeah, she's a big girl, but I don't have to think about this. I'm drunk, right? I'm drunk. This is not something I have to ever think about again. And so I'm like, okay, cool. And we're doing stuff and we're getting naked. And next thing you know, I hear a baby crying.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm not proud of this. I'm not. I don't know why we're talking about it. I don't know. But you can call me a scumbag. But again, I was in my 20s, right? I was young and stupid. And I'm like, first instinct, as anybody, any guy, any normal breathing guy is, oh shit. Okay, I'm going to stop. She's like, no, the baby just does that. Keep going. And as a normal man, I should have been like, as a human being, as somebody with a conscience, I should have gotten up and said, no, this isn't right. This is not my child. I need to go. But the alcohol was talking, and I don't know. I like a big woman, and
her moves are just too good.
Yes, horrible. She was a gelatinous woman. It wasn't like it was like a 10. She's a fucking 4 on her best day. And I'm just the desire was there. And
it's like with that one. It's like I part of me is like, okay, why are we doing this when the kid, like literally all that? At least the second time she had the decency of doing it on the couch while the kids were in the room. But the first time, and it wasn't like really full on intercourse like in that situation. It was basically her doing a hand job under the blankets. But still, I'm like thinking,
I got mad at you, right? And that's the biggest thing about people. And again, I'm transitioning away from the sex stories, but what I'm getting at is, people give you a lot of shit, right? People like to cheating is fucking public enemy number 1 to a lot of people. But fuck you all, because y'all have done some fucked up shit. Y'all just don't have the balls to admit it, all right? Not everybody's fucking perfect. We make mistakes. Boone's Farm is involved at times. Thunderbird, fucking a 40 ounce of 211 still reserved. These things influence you in bad ways, all right? So for anybody to sit there and judge, you know what? Fuck you.
And I always say it is. I have more balls than anybody to basically explicitly talk about my sex life, whether some people like it or not. Because
you're also a damn fool, to be honest. Because some of the shit you talk about, If it wasn't you, I probably wouldn't believe it. But I've met you. I know you. You're a damn fool.
There are stories like, of course, I'll talk about in a feature Tales Seducer about a pregnant woman with technically in a way, first threesome, even though the third party didn't get involved, with a pregnant woman, and the place that her apartment. I said I hope after she had the baby, she moved or she got that place clean because it was the filthiest place I ever been to. If I didn't have to go all that way just to fuck her, because she was like on the other side of town.
Hobo ass. Again, I was trying to get away from the sexual talk, but this is the hobo ass shit you kill me with. The girl you were talking about last night in your stream, you were like, well, she lived next to an HEB, so I can go get groceries on the way home. And she lived next to a mall, so if I wanted to buy a video game and a shirt, everything with you ties into fucking. I don't know how you do it, but everything about you ties into fucking in some way, shape, or form.
Sorry, do what?
I said everything you do, some way, shape, or form, ties into fucking. I'll never understand it.
I know. It's even like, with certain things, like usually people meet at a bar, maybe on a fucking nice dinner or something.
Nope. It's fucking.
Yeah, I just met someone behind HEB. Like, this chick literally lived behind an HEB. I shit you not. You literally walk out of her place and cross the street, and boom, there's the HEB. So I was like, fuck yeah, this is nice. Because some chicks, literally, I've been with, they will be on the other side of the fucking town in the middle of fucking nowhere, or you have to walk a little bit to find them.
You're also an anomaly in the fact that, like, you're one of the few people I know that gets ass with a bus pass. I don't get it.
Oh, what do you mean ass with a bus pass?
Like you don't have a car.
Yeah.
You get more ass than some people I know rocking a bus pass.
Yeah, there's literally, I only have a few people where I've literally either taken an Uber to, like the ex-military dominatrix chicks I mentioned, or another chick, and the only reason why I even took an Uber was because of the fact that because she lived not that far from me, but walking wise it would have taken me longer. She only has like a few times, so I was like, fuck, I'm just going to get an Uber to get over there. Like I said, that was probably one of the more expensive fucks I ever did because the Uber, and then I had to get plan B because got high, got drunk, and accidentally creamed her. Therefore, it was kind of like, fuck.
You're fucking a class act, Chayton. You're a fucking class. I creamed her. Oh, yeah, that's and I don't understand. What do I expect? I'll be coming to San Antonio to visit you, right? We pulled off, and we drove my truck up there originally. And fuck you, because on the way home, I got a fucking crack in my windshield. I blame you for that. I blamed you for that for years.
Where'd you get a crack?
On going down 35.
What hit it? What was it, a rock or something?
I blame you. I mean, it was a truck that did it, but I still blame you.
Oh, you blame me. Just blame the city. Don't blame the individual who or gravity.
No, because it's easier to blame you. Everybody else blames you, so fuck it. I'm joining the crowd. But
yeah, that's true.
We showed up. The first thing we did, we stopped at the gas station. I walked over to the fucking Whataburger, and I feel bad for you because, like I said in the chat, look again. You're the fat chick slayer. This girl walks up. She's like 5'4", pushing at least 320, and just looking at me like I'm a sandwich. I wouldn't consider myself a decent looking guy. I'm all right at best, but I've never had someone look at me so longingly in a first meeting. It was like, you remember that song Lady in Red?
Yeah.
She looked at me like I was the lady in red. Lady in Red. I mean,
it's basically sitting there like fucking Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, just sitting there like, oh, that's closing the eyes and imagine your entire life together.
It's fucking disgusting.
Or in San Antonio women's case is about 30 minutes and then never talk to them again.
Well, and San Antonio is a very, look, I'm a conservative, you're more of a liberal, but it's a very liberal fucking city. Like, it's just, yeah, it's not, I could not live there. I'm impressed that you do.
I'm born and raised. Born and raised. The only place I've really lived in before was a small town in the basically middle of nowhere called Mountain Home. It was basically 30 minutes from Junction, 30 minutes from fucking Kerrville. And like, I liked it because it was like, peaceful and all that stuff. But there was that part of me that was like, fuck. I mean, the only time I would ever need a vehicle because there's nothing to do besides woods and all that good stuff to get to. And the closest town that had like a Walmart or a GameStop or back then a Hastings was Kerrville. Junction was really, I went over there just to play Frisbee golf because I got into that when I was over there. But like, besides that, it was like, there wasn't really much like to do. But I kind of liked that because it was different from what I'm used to.
Like, well, you're very interesting. Basically, when people take the time to sit there and like converse with you, you're I wouldn't say you're odd. You're intriguing. Like, you're not your fucking average bear. And so, like, we were talking about, I don't know what the fuck we were talking about. But then you start talking about your love of movies. And, some people collect fucking cards and some people collect stamps and some people collect this and that. This motherfucker collects Blu-rays. Like, it doesn't matter what the Blu-ray is. It doesn't matter where it came from. If it's a Blu-ray, you have to own it. Where the fuck did that start?
I wanted to start some type of collection when I was younger, and it really started where I fully went into it in 2018. It was basically around the time that I moved into the apartment I've been in for the last 6 years? 6 years in December. And I was like, okay, new start. I was getting a pretty decent PS4 collection at the time. So I was like, and one of my biggest flaws of those is if ever I buy something back then, I would like, if ever I was strapped for cash, because I wasn't like working as much as I was about to at that time. So I was like, okay, if I have something, if I need extra income, I have that, yada, yada, yada. Well, so in 2018, I was like, I started just deciding, okay, let me see if I could do this. And recently, actually, I got the House of 1,000 Corpses Blu-ray Steelbook in honor of its 20th anniversary.
Great flick.
Yeah.
Theaters.
Now, to add to the collecting, there's another box set of the 20th anniversary that came out. Same basically discs, all that, but different artwork, some cards and all that. I'm literally still contemplating if I'm going to buy that too when I fucking when I get paid again. Again, there's nothing different from both. The only difference is basically the artwork, and one is a steelbook and one is a case.
Let me ask you this: like, is this is you're going to sell this one day, or is it just fucking a personal collection?
Most of it is. I've only sold a handful of them, and I'll get into that in a moment. But like, I have a Blu-ray copy of the House of 1,000 Corpses with the original poster. That I bought. That was I was debating if I was going to sell, but then I remembered that was actually one of the first movies I bought once I started my collection. My first 4K movie was Halloween 2018, and that was because I didn't know at the time I had an Xbox One S. I didn't know at the time that it could play 4K. I just saw it play Blu-ray, so I saw the steelbook. I was like, it's a really nice steelbook. I want to get it, but I was like, and it came with a Blu-ray. So I was like, fuck yeah. And then one day I just tested it out. So I was like, oh, good. I could play 4K. So then I kind of migrated from Blu-ray to 4K. I still buy plenty of Blu-rays, but usually it's the movies that either A, are not coming out in 4K anytime soon, or B, have not, may never come out on 4K. Like, I have the Alien collection. The only Alien movies that are out on 4K is Alien and Alien Covenant, and I don't know if they're ever going to release the other ones.
Yeah.
But so like it was Devil's Rejects, House of 1,000 Corpses, and fucking Halloween 2018 were like the beginning of it.
Yeah.
So I just kept going, and then it was in 2020 where like I finally upgraded to a 4K TV because we were like, of course, the pandemic happened. We were all at home, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go and finally get because I was late in the 1080p game. I had 720p or TV, all that good stuff. I basically jumped over 1080 to 4K once I got a newer TV. And I started getting more Blu-rays around that time. And going through some personal matters at that moment, I was, especially into 2021, it was kind of like that was like my thing to distract me. So there was points where it was a passion. There was kind of something to help me kind of distract me from things that were going on in the world, because again, I was making decent money, and I was, and I'm someone who I try not to spend the main value of it because I just don't like, what you call it?
Painful.
I like finding things on sale and all that good stuff. Like there are movies I'll buy full price. Like I think the most expensive movie I have, that single disc, is this movie called Martyrs from 2008. It's a French kind of like extremity horror film. And that one, I found like a CD exchange for like $70, 60 after my coupons. But it like that one was, and I was like, fuck, I'll get this because it was like, it was something rare. But going back to what you said earlier about like, do I sell any of them? I've sold a few, and it's only when they go out of print. I had the Human Centipede collection. I paid like $30 for it. And I was planning eventually on doing a review on it, whether it was on here or on my podcast. And I decided to, I was like, okay, I don't know if I'll ever keep these afterwards, but I want to at least have them watch them. That way I just, if one day somebody requests it, I think it was Jay Houston. Shout out to him. I think it was either him or Mysteriously Kind who requested me to do the Human Centipede. So I decided, okay, I'll do it. Did like a little live stream where I reacted to it. I think it was like the last live stream I had Elder in. And we were just, and nobody else was watching the movie, but they were basically, it was just like me reacting and talking about it and all that. So after that, I realized that it was out of print. So a $30 movie, or I think it was like 30 to 40 set that I bought a couple of years prior, went up to almost $200.
Oh shit! So there's an investment to be made here.
Yeah. Like there are movies out there. Like I know there's a Blu-ray because it doesn't have a current release. It's been out of print for years due to the Weinsteins. But Dogma is extremely hard to find on Blu-ray.
I think I have it.
If you have it on Blu-ray, you're sitting on at least a couple of hundred until they finally release. Like once they like, they're like
sure. Like I said, I know like one of my favorite movies is Scott Pilgrim, and I have a Super 10 box set for that because it's one. Again, I love the story of Scott Pilgrim. I have the fucking the color version graphic novel. And like I love Scott Pilgrim. Like I can't say enough great things. I wasn't a big fan of I like the movie, but if you like read the books, it's so much better. But that's
usually how it is most of the time.
So yeah, I get it. I didn't know that you were actually looking for what. Like I didn't realize you were that intricate as far as the fucking movie shit. I knew you collected them. I just thought you collected them to collect.
And also, I follow like other YouTubers who do like it kind of got me to do more and plus it helps me buy certain 4Ks and to avoid certain 4Ks. Like I think it was last year, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl came out 4K, and I was kind of excited. I was like, "Ooh, cool!" Like I think that movie will look good in 4K because I've always said 4K is a lot better, in my opinion, on older movies than it is current movies because a lot of films are already shot in those like 4K, 8K, what have you.
Yeah.
And these movies, like I've said, two of the best 4Ks I've seen, there's others, I just haven't either owned them or watched them for myself yet, was Psycho, the original with Anthony Perkins is like black and white for some reason is like the best in 4K.
Okay, so I'm glad you said black and white, and I hate to get off track again. The intro that we decided for this, right? A lot of those scenes, if you look at them, not in black and white, they don't look as haunting. It's when you take the color out of something. It's just something about doing that really makes things fucking terrifying. It's the shadows. Alfred Hitchcock was a genius when it came to that. He knew that minimalist fucking ideals would make something just fucking pop. But continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, and I agree with that. Like I've seen, I still need to get like the Universal Monsters because I've got like this box set that has like all the Universal Monster movies on there, but they've been slowly releasing like packs of the movies on 4K. So I've been very curious to see how like Dracula, for example, looks in that because again, like it's fascinating how that it looks so crisp and clean with that with the transfer now. The other movie was Dario Argento's Suspiria from, I believe, 1977. That movie like has a lot of colorful scenes, but it's how they integrated it with the 4K transfer and all that, and the restoration made it look like I actually showed a friend who never saw it, and for a moment before maybe he saw like the hairstyles and all that, he thought this movie was kind of current, or he thought it was. I think he heard of the remake. So he thought maybe it was like an alternative version of the like beginning of the remake. And I told him, I said, no, this is the original from 1977. And so he freaked out because he was like, whoa.
And look at some of the fucking, because you know how much I love me some I Love Lucy. I love Lucille Ball. But look at the fucking update. When they updated the show and they did the remastering of the show in color, it's amazing the way they fucking did that.
Yes. And regarding like movies like they're like and there are great 4Ks of modern movies like I haven't bought it myself, but I've heard Top Gun Maverick is breathtaking in 4K. The Batman, of course, anybody who's followed me for a while not only knows that was my favorite movie last year, but also in my opinion the best Bat movie ever made.
Better than the Burtons?
Huh?
Better than the Burton movies?
Yeah, because I've always been more with Batman, and I've always said that the easiest part of it is to basically play both roles. But to me, I've always, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's within this theory or belief that like Bruce Wayne is his mask. Batman is who he really is, and I feel like Robert Pattinson played the best part. Like he played that part to a T. I feel like everybody always had an issue with separating the two in some way, shape, or form. And it's just I felt like that was the best version of that because even like when they did Batman Begins, because it's not like the first movie where Batman is in his like first couple of years as Batman. And I just felt like that was the moment because I've always said Bruce Wayne died when the night that his parents were gunned down. All that remained basically was Zool. No, I'm kidding. All that remained was fucking. All that remained was fucking Batman from basically that point on, where he just didn't have a name until later on.
I am the night. I am fear. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that, that was always probably another one that I would say probably did the best job. It was more voice acting. Was Kevin Conroy.
Absolutely. God rest his soul.
Yeah. That was another one because like when he would even if he was in the Batcave with Alfred in the animated series, he would still be talking like he was Batman.
Well, even when he did fucking old Bruce, like he killed it because you could hear the fucking haggard beatness in his voice. You could hear this was a broken man trying to hold it together, and he was adopting children to fill a void. But then again, he wouldn't let them get too close. Oh, man, there's so many levels you can go as far as Batman. And I know like we're getting to that point because we were talking about cutting it at 45. But I think at some point we need to break down characters like that on these shows, like the different versions of Joker. I would love to go back and forth with you and talk about like from Heath Ledger's to Jack Nicholson's to Mark Hamill's to even Jared Leto's to what's his name, Cesar Romero. Each one
Joaquin Phoenix.
Fuck yeah, to each one of their Jokers and just sit there and critique and try to have a. That's one thing that you and I love breaking down movies. One of my favorite movies of all times, and you know this, is Braveheart. And there's so many fucking intricate little details that people don't pick up on. Why, like you don't see how evil someone like Longshanks is. Another one of my favorite villains, Gangs of New York, Bill the Butcher, and how he's not a bad guy. He's just a patriot. Oh, it's just, yeah.
Well, exactly. I've always said the most fascinating villains are the ones where they think, to me, where they either they have no reasoning, kind of like with Heath Ledger's Joker, but also ones who think they're the hero of the story.
Yeah.
You know, like I like more in-depth like character studies of a villain than just a fucking like a little bit off topic, but with there was a like movie that came out like last year, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I won't go into details, you haven't seen it, but that movie had no, especially being 10 years off of the last Puss in Boots movie, that movie had no right to be as good as it was.
Was that Antonio Banderas?
Huh? Yeah.
Again, he's another guy, voice actor, but he's so fucking good. I get it, that's a children's movie, but look at his work in fucking and Desperado. Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Like he does, and fucking Dusk Till Dawn. He does such incredible work.
Was he? I don't think he was in. Salma Hayek was in Dusk Till Dawn.
I thought it was him and Quentin Tarantino.
No, George Clooney.
Oh fuck! You're right. My bad. I'm sorry.
That was literally the moment where I actually started, because all I saw of George Clooney when I was a kid was Batman Robin, so I didn't really care for him. And
yeah, you're right.
And so I saw him from Dusk Till Dawn. I'm like, okay, he's fucking cool. You know, I liked his character.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about him in fucking Interview with a Vampire, because I knew it had something to do with vampires.
Oh yeah. He was in that one. Yeah.
Fucking epic. Fucking like yes.
So, like, you know, like, but yeah, there was a character in Puss in Boots where, you know, it's like one of those anime movies that, to me, I love it more rewatching it. And it had a lot of adult, like, it basically was, without going too much into it, it was basically it was a kid's movie talking about mortality. Yeah. And also, I basically called it the Logan of kids' movies. Which anybody's seen Logan, I said this movie had no right to be as good as, like, it was, to me, it's almost better than all the other Shrek movies. And again, I went in it thinking, okay, I'll probably get some laughs. I'll have a good time. The animation looks good, you know, like watching the trailer, right?
Yeah.
And thinking it's just your basic by the numbers movie, right? And then watching it, I'm like, fuck, this movie is actually really good. Like, as an adult watching it, again, it's like watching it and like, I love the Shrek movies. I love Puss in Boots, but like there was so much time between the last like Shrek themed movie, which was Puss in Boots, to the new one. So it was kind of like it was funny how two movies came out around that same time, that and Avatar last year, that were basically two movies, sequels of movies from like 10 years ago that kind of, you know,
see, and like, I'll admit this: I've never seen Avatar. I'm not gonna watch Avatar. It's, in my opinion, I don't like hyped up movies like that. It just doesn't do it for me. The hype.
I will say this: I never saw Avatar in theaters. I saw it many years later. It wasn't my cup of tea. Now watching it, I've always said this: visually stunning, even The Way of Water, visually stunning. I hated The Way of Water. I'm like one of the few people who actually said I hated the movie. But I will not take away from James Cameron and his visuals, because those visuals are stuff I've never seen. But I did go see it last year, and the first one, before the new one came out, in IMAX.
Yeah.
And my opinion still stands on the movie. It is your basic by the numbers ripoff of Pocahontas, Dance with the Wolves, so on and so forth. So now, to be fair, and I've said this before, that there is a lot of movies nowadays that are not original. They are ripoffs of something, or take homage to something, right? Redfield, for a prime example, takes a lot of homages. Without going too much into it, it was from the old school Dracula movies with Bela Lugosi and all that. And Nicolas Cage. I feel
like there's some Nosferatu in there.
Yeah, like I loved Redfield, but it was like, you know. So that's not something that, you know, like all you had to tell me, because I'm a big Nicolas Cage fan. All you had to tell me was Nicolas.
Like I said, I know we're getting to that point. We're going to cut it, but
yeah,
I will say this: you can't really, you can sit there and try to remake Dracula, but Dracula is fucking Dracula. It is a story that, I mean, Dracula Untold, that was a very wonderful depiction. I think that was a very interesting way of going with it. If you remember that movie.
Yeah, I actually, I like that movie more than the Mummy movie that had Tom Cruise in it, because I was like, I wish they continued to at least give it a shot.
Yeah.
But, and then they kind of
to
just
be fair, like Castlevania, and again, I'll let you end it after I say this or whatever you're going to say after that. But
yeah,
Castlevania has definitely given rebirth to the Dracula aura, the Dracula saga.
Yeah, and actually that there is a topic one day I want to talk about is like how not only Twilight but I always call it 2008 the beginning of the slow death of vampire movies, because I just feel like that, for years, ever since Twilight came out, vampire movies have been trying their damnedest to kind of get back into the limelight and get back into the stratosphere. And there are some great vampire movies out there after, post Twilight, but it's not a lot of people know about them. And so that would actually be a topic.
I was forced to see all of them with my ex. I am glad to help you with that. We will do.
Yeah, same. And
on the next episode of the Exiled Outcast, we're bitching about sparkly vampires.
Yeah, but one last thing I'll say is that that same year there was a great vampire movie. It was probably one of the last great theatrical released vampire movies, and that was 30 Days of Night.
That was oh fuck yeah, we should definitely talk about that too.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're the boss. You run the show. You have graciously allowed me to be your co-host. That's right. For the first time ever in our fucking friendship, you're in charge. Go fuck yourself. Thank you for letting me come on board, but it's your time to end the show, sir.
Well, yeah, so thank you, motherfucker. Right back at you. But yes, this has been the premiere episode of the Exiled Outcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you thought and what you would want to hear us talk about in the future. Sparkling vampires, any other sexual activities we may have gotten into in our use.
Sick fuck.
Hey, people so like hearing about it. At least some people have the balls to talk about their sexuality, doesn't it? All that good shit.
You're still a sick fuck.
Yeah, still. But make sure you like it, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will be back very, very soon to talk about sparkling vampires and more. So with that, it has been the Exiled Outcasts, and we bid you adieu. Ta-ta for now.